Hello, everyone. Good evening and and welcome. Well, zooming wherever you are, from far north to far south, far west to far east, wherever in the universe you are zoomable. That's very good, incredible, really. So thank you, everybody, joining and giving your company once again in these teachings on the perfection of wisdom. So let's take a couple of moments to generate the right intention that is concordant with perfection wisdom. It always talks about the need to have the right intention, and once you have the right intention, then you armor it so that you make sure that you don't lose that. You warranty it, not just 3-year warranty. you, you try to increase your warranty that it stays strong throughout the whole session and throughout the whole life, and until all sentient beings are somewhat affected by you, to make a small difference to them. You increase your warranty to armor your bodhicitta motivation, be that as a listener or be that as a one who is explaining this. All of us are completely equal partner in the need to have that motivation. Then without that motivation, even there is no better person or better role without that intention. If we have that intention, then whatever role we play in a big activities, big project, or we are just working as a paper boy or tea lady or or the director or whatever, the role doesn't really make difference, but how everybody does that with that very warranted intention called bodhicitta. It's such an important part of this perfection wisdom. This is really, we talk about the wisdom later on, the importance of wisdom being the I, and so on. The rest of the practice be talking about as the body. But if you don't have the right intention, even wisdom is pretty shallow. So that's why with this intention we are going to take refuge. Amazing, really. The refuge is like those people in Belarus. They they're running in that cold weather, try to cross the border just for this life security. So it's little better life. So we are running from the storm of selfishness, poverty of altruism, and therefore we are seeking refuge in the Buddha, in the teachings, where our realization of the teaching. So when we say the refuge prayer, we should make them a very intent prayer and meditation as we say them. We say them mindfully and feel them in your heart. Know them what constitutes refuge. It's not a ceremony. It's not a kind of making you Buddhist. It's a making you become safe. What's the point of you become Buddhist if you're not safer? If you're safer from your negative thoughts, then it's good. Even nobody cut your hair, you had a haircut. You cut the damn thoughts. so 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 of course ceremoniously it's good to cut your hair going for refuge, but actually it's best is we renew our commitment to have faith and belief in the Dharma, and then we have really and your commitment to do these teachings and attend these sessions, and as well as all the things you are doing as your private practice and all of this definitely is a refuge. So it's just that we are just reiterating ourselves when we do this prayer. So we were going to do the refuge and then the cultivation of the bodhicitta together with the four immeasurables, as the first of the 10th chapter is the generation and the armoring of the Bodhichitta with the benefit of the enlightened spiritual friend, the Buddha, and the human spiritual friend, the succession of masters of this practice, and then realization of spiritual friend that within us we know all of that, and therefore we wanted to express that formally by joining our hands and doing these prayers. So let's do that refuge for immeasurables 3 times each first. So we'll screen share that. Please sit upright as formally as a prayerful thing. So O yenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Ajere Yedela Dhamma Bhavaja Ajevendala Ajare Vadavadu and Abu Dadarama Sangha Ajere Yedela Bhavaja Ajevendala Ajare Vadavadu and Abu Dadarama Sangha Ajere Yedela Dhamma Bhavaja Ajevendala Ajare Vadavadu happiness and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never bar from the happiness that knows no suffering, may they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May hobbies happiness and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering, may they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all beings happiness and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering. May they never part from the happiness and suffering. May they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to the near and far, according to the intelligence and bread position of the Yajandharama Agrelo and Kama Vigos. So we are actually come to the last chapter, which is the chapter of omniscience. So as we still got as we still got two more sessions, including tonight. So I'm going to sort of make use of this time to revise what we've gone through in conjunction with this teaching on the omniscience, and with in conjunction with the recitation of the Heart Sutra. This time we will recite the Heart Sutra in English together ourselves, and because Heart Sutra has this the last point of the Heart Sutra has five the mantra Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasangate, Bodhi, Swaha. So the first Gate means gone, and then second Gate is also gone. Gone means path of accumulation, path of preparation. These first two Gate refers to the worldly person's practice on the path of accumulation, we are all definitely on path of accumulation, and then some good practitioner could reach to the path of preparation. So second Gate is that. Then the third Paragate. Para means gone beyond or thoroughly gone. So this refers to the path of seeing. This path of seeing is where one has already achieved the first bhumi. One is actually seeing the emptiness of self, not just cognitively, or not just conceptually, but meditatively. And so path of seeing. Then parasangate means thoroughly gone beyond, thoroughly gone, whether you intensify, thoroughly gone. This refers to the path of meditation. This is actually where the Bodhisattva from the first bhumi all the way to the 10th, all the way to the on that level. And then Bodhi, that's the fifth one. Bodhi means enlightenment. That's the fifth path of normal learning, which is the omniscience. So when we are talking about the omniscience, you have achieved the Buddhahood of realizing the total, complete omniscience. One lacks any faults, karmic or cognitive obscuration, and one has completely attained the Buddhahood. So the Bodhi refers to the omniscience. So because of omniscience is the perfect state of enlightenment, this has, of course, three kayas. Omniscience has we can call it two kayas, because of the two kayas are called the wisdom body or dharmakaya, and the rupakaya is a form body. So usually when we subdivide the into three kaya doctrine, three kayas, we are subdividing the rupakaya into two, Nermanaka and the Sambhogakaya. But actually it is the two kayas first, and out of the two kayas, Dharmakaya stays the wisdom body, and the Rupakaya, the form body, is then divided into two. Sambhogakaya, which means enjoyment body, and Nirmanakaya, which is the emanation body. So the Dharmakaya is that which endows all the powers of the omniscient one, who has achieved all the qualities of mind, that is the wisdom, compassion, and power, and then relinquish all the faults of affliction and cognitive obscuration. So Dharmakaya is completely the wisdom body, which has all the powers, the 10 powers, for fearlessness, and 18 specific characteristic, and all those qualities of enlightenment is the Dharmakaya. So that is the domain of the Buddhahood. That is the perfection of wisdom. No one below the 10th stage of enlightenment can know that omniscience indirectly. So therefore, that Dharmakaya state of mind is the Bodhi. The word Bodhi, when we say Bodhi, the word Bodhi is used quite a lot in Buddhism. Bodhi tree, Bodhi seed, Mahabodhi, and lots of bodhis are there. So this is not B-O-W-Y. Sorry, this is not B-O-D-Y, This Bodhi is B-O-D-H-I. Different kind of body, We are full of body all the time. We are always stuck in the body. But we have to be body without the body. That's the wisdom body. Dharmakaya is the Dharmakaya. The Sanskrit word for body is kaya. Kaya. And Dharma means wisdom or emptiness. So wisdom kaya means wisdom form of the wisdom, and Rupakaya is the form of the form. So therefore, form is the actual manifest form. Manifest form, there are two types. Manifest forms are two types. One is Sambhogakaya. Sambhogakaya is necessarily endowed with all the 32 major and minor and 80 minor marks of fully enlightened one, who's always relishing and teaching Mahayana teachings, constantly in the company of bodhisattvas dwelling on the 10th bhumi. So the Sambhogakaya aspect of the Buddhas, Rupakaya Buddhas, are not witnessed in our conventional world here. The Sambhogakaya aspect are only in Akanishta realm, where the audience are bodhisattvas, and teachings is Mahayana, and that is the teachings continues happening, and so the necessarily Sambhogakaya is one who is completely adorned with 112 marks. Now the Nirmanakaya is the manifestation of deliberate manifestation in the world, either deliberately in the form of excellent Nirmanakaya or birth Nirmanakaya. Excellent Nermanaka is like Shakyamuni Buddha, who has endowed with all the 112 marks, but we could actually see him in person. That's why the Buddha is so rare. And such an excellent Nirmanakaya with all the 112 marks was only occurred Shakyamuni Buddha. There has never been anyone else until now. There have been a number of others who are reputed to be emanation of Manjushri or Chenrezig, but they only have maybe half a dozen those physical features, but not 112 marks. So those who have all the 112 is called excellent Nirmanakaya. Like Shakyamuni Buddha, the Buddha, historical Buddha, has all those 112 marks. So that's very, very rare. So the Buddhahood is one who reaches the Bodhi. It's very difficult, very few. And so the others are birth Nirmanakayas. Others are bodhisattvas who haven't reached the 10th, who haven't reached the full enlightenment, but have made vows to come to the world. So they deliberately come in the world as birth Nirmanakaya. So all the tradition in Tibetan Buddhism, like His Holiness Dalai Lama and some of the many titles and high positions, they're all regarded as a birth Nirmanakaya. They are birth Nirmanakaya in terms of carrying the legacy of their predecessor, and born again and again with the power of their prayers as a bodhisattva, because they all have made the armored bodhicitta, remember? So the more the people who cultivate the armored bodhicitta, the more they have to engage, don't they? So whether they recognize or not, you still will come to serve the world. So whether discreetly or not, when His Holiness Dalai Lama says he may be last Dalai Lama, but he's just saying he might be last Dalai Lama as an institution, but he's not saying that's the last Avalokiteshvara. There's no such thing. Avalokiteshvara has made such a vow, inestimable vow, that he will always manifest. Avalokiteshvara has manifested as a girl in Tara. And the Tara is the Avalokiteshvara came from tear. So they're all bodhisattvas. The base of the manifestation is a Dharmakaya, because from Dharmakaya they come at Rupakaya. So there is no shortage of birth Nirmanakaya and artistic Nirmanakaya. These Nirmanakaya are the people, or not just as a human beings, some as animals, some as nature. Quite a lot of animals are really bodhisattva-like. When you look at them, they're really lovely. They hardly kill each other except they're for food or something. I think humans are very, very cunning. But animals, I don't think they have any animosity. Maybe for a little while, maybe they just hate each other. Dogs, maybe neighbor's dog barking at another's neighbor. Maybe they are really not hating each other. They just want to become friends, and the owners doesn't let them to meet. And it looks like they're barking, but they are probably expressing their love. So sometimes there are lots of Nirmanakayas incognito. When you look at some of the animals, and most of the animals, really, if you're nice to them, they're really nice. They are even tigers, even clawed animals. Clawed animals and beaked animals, they don't always attack everybody, They have claws and beaks just to feed themselves. They're not really designed to harm anybody. They don't go and produce any weapon, not even a needle. They're just using their beak and claws. Humans are the one who are real hungry ghosts, real vicious, and real kind of hell beings. So therefore we must look that the bodhisattvas are many. Most of them are disguised. Most of them are unrecognized. Most of them are disguised. But I'm sure you have such people in your life. And when you think in this way, you will see the bodhisattvas everywhere. Because somebody is doing all the hard lifting in your unit of community or family. Somebody is always doing, Usually it's the mother, because, and then the sisters, and then some of the brothers might do that too, if they learn the good examples of the mother. And if they heard a little bit of Dharma, they might say, oh really, my mother has been really, really the bodhisattva I've known. She selflessly gave her all the years and time for me and upbringing on this. So one actually get to know the Nirmanakaya. Nirmanakaya creates numerous manifestations in various forms for the benefit of sentient beings of pure and impure appearances. So Nirmanakaya do not necessarily always appear pleasant and doing everything good. Some of them are teaching us. Some of them are deliberately teaching us. They themselves have no karmic residue for them to do that, but they're doing this to wake us up. So that's for the realm of the Sambhoga is necessarily Akanishta. The realm of Nirmanaka constitute three chiliocosms. All the three chiliocosms are the domain and place where the Nermanaka manifests. Nermanaka is not restricted. Nirmanaka will go to the hells. Nirmanaka manifestation will manifest in human form. A Nirmanaka manifestation among the humans, among the animals, among all the non-believers. So that's why it's very important to know that omniscient Buddha's omniscient mind radiates various forms in order to outreach the sentient beings who could not be reached. So that's why Mahayana Buddhists have no difficulty imagining the Christ as a bodhisattva. Not just out of diplomatical thing to the Christians. The Christians may not like it. We say he's a bodhisattva. We think, what is bodhisattva? They want him to be the God. Son of the God is more important than the bodhisattva. From the Buddhists, to say somebody's bodhisattva is the highest position, really. Only second to the Buddha. Only second to the Buddha. Which he can claim in no time. But of course, like His Holiness Dalai Lama meets, Desmond Tutu. Desmond Tutu thinks His Holiness Dalai Lama is best Christian he has met. He doesn't want to see he's a good Buddhist monk. He's the best Christian. The best Christian he's met is the Dalai Lama. and His Holiness Dalai Lama, I don't know whether they've said that he's a good Buddhist monk. Maybe he can say he's a good bodhisattva. I don't know. So we have no difficulty imagining others as a bodhisattva because we have no awareness, no way of telling who's not. No, people's heart are. They say animal stripe is on the outside, human stripes is in the inside. So to read the human stripe, we have to have the mind to read people's mind, which we seldom can read our own mind. We seldom can read our own mind, let alone other people's mind. And we have no reason to think that somebody have no bodhicitta. Everybody have bodhicitta. And so we have to say they all have Buddha nature. And we examine when we truly examine our bodhicitta, when we armor it, we will see the Buddha nature in everyone else. So that's why it says that the Nermanaka realms appear to beginners some as bodhisattvas, some as Shravakas, some as Parteka Buddhas, some as a layman, some as a novice, some as a monk, some as some kind of demigods or even gods or worldly gods, or some as humans. So therefore Nirmanakaya can appear in any random appearances. So your pet could teach you many things. Maybe your pet is teaching you how loyal they are, how helpful they are, how willing they are, how patient they are. Your pet animal is very patient, They're meant to be fed at 2 o'clock, but they haven't been fed even at 5. They're still wagging the tails and unlike human beings will be very crook. Where did you go? I meant to be fed 3 hours ago. People, even 5 minutes late, people making noise. Animals still wagging the tails. So you will see. When you have some kind of the attributes of the enlightened mind, you will starting to see the good in everyone. The enlightened activities of the Nermanaka are like wish-fulfilling gem, The activities are so beautiful, so selfless, and so beneficial, so generous. So you're starting to see all the 10 parameters in others' actions when you have the bodhisattva mind. Even if somebody is so miserly, so angry and so aggressive towards you, you will engage your bodhicitta in seeing his miserliness is cause for my generosity. So what's your generosity going to be beneficial unless you can offset their miserliness towards you. Someone's miserliness is cause of your generosity. Someone's aggression is cause of your tolerance. Someone's laziness is cause of your diligence, and so on and so forth. So, as a person who's beginning to have the glimpse of what an omniscient mind is, even though we don't have it yet, but we almost assume this is what you should be trying to be able to do, is that one who has a slight kind of mentality of what the Nermanaka being means. They have activities that actually touches others, and like a wish fulfilling gem, and ripens others, and will fulfill the wishes of them, and then this will cause the liberation of the devotees. Other people, you will have amazing influence on other people. Like His Holiness Dalai Lama, if he's around, you will feel the radiance. It's just like the kind of a magnet, You can feel his energy, his persona, his presence, because he's always radiating. He's always in the bodhicitta motivation. Every activity he does is done for the benefit of all sentient beings, and those whose karma are ripened, those who have merit to become a devotee, they will be changed. They will be transformed. It changes them in a very subtle level. They don't know how, but something definitely happened. When people go to attend His Holiness Dalai Lama's teachings, like in MCG or in Sydney, some of the stadium, when we listen to some of the teachings on emptiness, it all went over their head. They didn't really understand. But they all went home a little bit shifted and changed and transformed and blessed. So they can't tell what was it all about. It's not some intellectually very stimulating or very, not necessarily. Some people will, some people won't. But overall effect of it, they just couldn't believe the great joy they had to be in his presence. And that will never last, never forget. It's unforgettable. Why? That is the enlightened activities of the omniscient one, the bodhisattva. Even bodhisattva reaching on the first bhumi level will have this much effect to you. So because they have so much will, so much intention in their daily prayer, in their meditation, they do it for all sentient beings. So of course they will have some effect on others. Not everybody has. Everybody's effect on each other is on a varying degrees of their kind of a confidence of their formidable virtue or discipline or compassion and wisdom. Those who have this high realization, their radiance or their domain will be much larger. It's a good website. Good website. It's got sound, it's got video, it's got all the materials, it's got all the things. So when you connect with the right enlightened mind, you will get lots of resources from it, because that's the enlightened activities. We call the enlightened qualities, the omniscient one is enlightened activities, are like a wish fulfilling gem. And their activities, their influence is somewhat changing your perception, your opinions, and it caused the liberation. It caused you liberation from miserliness, stinginess, or enmity and anger. And then you realize, you have sort of somewhat been changed, and lead them to higher realms of enlightenment, establish them to the path of definite goodness. That's why the coming of the Buddha is such a good news. And not only his coming then, 565 years ago, but ever since then, whoever has had the good opportunity to meet the influence of Nermanaka, and of course we are talking about Shakyamuni Buddha, and then those of us in Mahayanists and Tibetan Buddhists, of course we believe the role of His Holiness Dalai Lama. Even when prior to His Holiness Dalai Lama institution started, that's only in 17th century, there were many, many such bodhisattvas. bodhisattvas continuously. You wouldn't believe how many of them there were, and that gave rise to these amazing Tibetan Buddhist lineages, and that are so strong. And Tibetan lost everything. They realized no self. They realized no country. They realized no Tibet. They realized no Tibetan postage. They realized no Tibetan national flag. But they realized the Dharma instead. And then even they just escape in refugee, they have completely regrouped themselves and build the Dharma bastions much stronger than ever, because they don't have any other agendas. So now the teaching is flourishing. Why? Because these are the enlightened activities. So the teaching is not buildings and things. Teaching is the spirit, that which enlightens and enlivens other people who doesn't have the culture. And so the enlightened activities enlighten others. One lamp lamps another. That's a real lamp, Those candle lamps cannot lamp the other, These electronic lamps cannot lamp the other, But those who are carrying the enlightened activities can light the other, can lit the others. And this lighting others is causing them to mature, to ripen, and therefore shift from miserliness to generosity, lack of discipline to discipline, lack of patience to patience, full of enmity to lack of enmity, full of laziness to with diligence, lack of meditation to meditation, lack of wisdom from wisdom of impermanence, wisdom of no self, wisdom of transitoriness of things. They begin to see, and then wisdom, and also lack of skillfulness. It becomes skillful. Lack of not doing any prayers. They believe in prayers. So all those 10 parameters we talked about becomes attributed to the enlightened activities, and these enlightened activities go to influence others. So when we do the Heart Sutra now, I want you to be in that state of meditation, how to cultivate these 10 parameters, which are engaged parameters. Engaged parameters are engaged bodhicitta. Rather, engaged bodhicitta is when each of these we need to intersect all the parameters together in the recitation and meditating on the Heart Sutra. When you make a cake, of course you might have a sequence of having this first and then that one and then last one the egg, and so then mixing them and so on. But the cake has all the ingredients in the cake, when you eat the cake, isn't it? Like that, we have to make sure that even though the teaching went on for the last 4 terms, from the very, very beginning we talked about the history of the perfection of wisdom, and then talk about the importance of preliminary, the disciples needing the faith, and so on. And then it talked a great deal about what constitutes bodhicitta, wishing and engaging, and the precepts and 22 analogies, and need to practice them in context with the 6 parameters, in context with 4 noble truths, and so on. All those we discuss. Now when we reciting the Heart Sutra, we need to see that all mixture of the cake together and become a cake. You see what I mean? Not just handling the white flour all the very beginning. Quite boring, really. White flour it's on its own doesn't make a lot of cake. So when they all mix together and blended together, and then you got all the ingredients affecting the flavor. So when you're reciting the Heart Sutra, we should be bringing all the flavor of the motivation, the engaged bodhicitta, not to mention the intersecting of the 4 noble truths, and refuge in the triple gem, And all those facets of the meditation, when we talk about the four meditations on the path of preparation, for instance, heat, and peak, and forbearance, and excellence of Dharma, you need to try to bring various facets in the qualities of the practice when we do the Heart Sutra, because Heart Sutra is the shortest but most succinct meaning of the perfection of wisdom. Okay, so let's put on the Heart Sutra. We will read it slowly, and then later on, when we reciting the mantra, we will recite the mantra for a little bit longer than normal, and then meditate on that. Meditate on this perfection of wisdom, combining both relative bodhicitta, consisting of the wishing and engaging bodhicitta, and 6 engaging bodhicitta of the practice, and then meditating on the lack of inherent existence of all of these things, including the self and all phenomena. So this very subject of Heart Sutra is that meditation and perfection of wisdom. That's what it says, to the heart of the perfection of wisdom, transcendental wisdom. So let's read this together now. To the perfection of wisdom, the Blessed Mother, I pay homage. Thus I have heard at one time, Blessed One, Bhagavan, was dwelling in Rajgriha on Virtuous Peak, together with a great assembly of Sanghas and great assembly of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in Samadhi on the enumeration of the phenomena called the profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, Superior Avalokiteshvara, was contemplating on the meaning of the profound perfection of wisdom. He saw that the 5 aggregates also are empty of inherent existence. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, the Superior Avalokiteshvara, how should son or daughter of good lineage train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke. Then the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, the Superior Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good lineage wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom should view in this way. They should correctly view those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent existence. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition of factors, and consciousness are empty. Now pause a little bit here and meditate on that, the first one. Emptiness, form is emptiness. Meaning the form is emptiness doesn't mean form like our body is not there, but it is empty of truly existing, independent, unitarily, truly existing self. So pause there and reflect on your body, from your crown, from your skin, all the way to go to the marrows, all the way to the toes. And when you look at all the different parts of the body, consisting of the 300 bones, 900 pieces of flesh, and all the internals, all the skin, all the organs, all the various tendons, all the parts of the body, all of them are this and that, but not self. Is this not true? So reflect on the fourfold meditation on the emptiness of form first. Form is emptiness, emptiness of form, empty is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. So pause there for a little while and just make your mind go to search. Go through the top of your crown, all the way through the body. There are all the different parts, the ribs, the carcass, all the internals, or the solid, or the liquid, all the blood, nearly 4 liters or more, and all the entrails, all the organs, all the hollow parts, and all the wet part, and all the skins, all the body hairs, all the head hairs. Is any of them form? Yes, but empty of self. But that emptiness of self is manifesting in this bodily form, to which this name called George or Mary is given. This emptiness is none other than this form. That this form, body itself, is none other than emptiness of self. But yet, beings who are not realized, apprehend, grasp to this body made out of 32 parts as wholly existing self mistakenly. This is the basis of the confusion, grasping body as self and satisfactory, permanent and real, when actually it is exactly opposite. It is impermanent, it is full of pain, suffering, unsatisfactory. It is not strong or real unless we keep feeding daily, unless we keep drinking daily. There isn't anything in the body that is real, that is satisfactory, that is permanent or strong, let alone me. Likewise, feeling is emptiness, and emptiness is feeling. Emptiness no other than feeling. Feeling is no other than emptiness. Feeling is there, be that pleasant, happiness, joy, friendliness, or sadness, hurt, loss, or grief. They are there, but there is no really self in there. It one identifies that as self, but actually the self is not in the feeling. The feeling, even pleasant feelings, are impermanent, and getting attached to them becomes painful, and therefore lack any independently existing self in any of the feeling. So hence, feeling is emptiness. It doesn't stop one to develop feeling of friendliness towards others, but soon that friendship will suffer, either due to excessive attachment to the extent of not daring to part even for a day, or can continue the friendliness because something else happened. So all friendliness are impermanent and therefore cause a pain when people grasp to the friendliness feeling, and therefore do not truly represent anything of value to cling to. Not to mention the unpleasant feelings of hate or grief. Grief by nature is unsatisfactory, yet people become so full of it, they don't know how to disassociate from the grief feeling. They become so attached with hate to that very feeling, they don't know how to make it impermanent or see its impermanence, and thus creates more pain, and then fail to realize empty of the grief. They become full of the grief and sadness because they don't have the wisdom discerning the emptiness of feeling and how feeling is empty of self. So reflect on this as a profound illumination. Those who don't have the wisdom of Dharma cling to objects of pleasant feeling and have aversion to object of unpleasant feelings, and get caught in this dichotomy and become so shredded by this and lose themselves, get drowned in the feelings of loneliness and sadness and fear, when actually there's nothing in the feeling that is there to rely on. They're all like a foam and water bubbles will quickly evaporate. Likewise, third aggregate, discrimination or perception is emptiness. Emptiness is perception. Empty is no other than perception. Perception is no other than emptiness. This is to say, it's not saying there is no perception or discrimination, but the perception is colored and compromised by one's wrong view that it is real and permanent, truly existing, when actually it's propped up by many, many things. Same object could be perceived differently by just as many people there are. Why is it so? It's because the perceived is only thought about the perceived, not the perceived itself. So the perception is actually emptiness, empty of the real self or real thing itself. It's all just projected. It's just like a dream. When a person is caused by sleep, he thinks the dream is real. All he sees in the dream are there, but he thinks they're real. He forgets that he's asleep. Often, people who think that what they perceive of somebody is real is they are fallen asleep of ignorance. Hence, they have the deluded, negative, condescending, judgmental, hateful perceptions. So therefore perception is emptiness, and emptiness of self for sure. And it is that very emptiness of perception manifests as the form, as the object. When actually its emptiness is no other than the perception, and perception itself is no other than emptiness. So from here, one needs to know that all perceptions are interdependently originated. The object itself is a mere object that is imputed, but there are many, many factors that make it appear as though they are real when they actually are not real. Just like an apparition, just like the mirage. It looks like water, but there's not even a drop of it. So our strong, extreme views, the perception of someone's, either we like them or we don't like them, or we judge them or we disapprove, all is projected by one's own mind. It's nothing in the object that truly exists. So we should know. And then bring the awareness of the compassion towards those who don't see this and are deluded by their own imperceptions. And then impart compassion. And don't mind what they say or do. For oneself sees all perception as emptiness. Blink of eye, it's all gone. Let alone playing back as it was real. No such nightmare. Likewise, the fourth aggregate is called composition factors or mental formation or conditionings. It's all the ideas, either mental ideas or verbal utterances or physical doings or perceived doings of others. All of these are also all conditionings, mental formations, is empty. Emptiness self manifesting as mental formation. Emptiness is not other than the mental formation. Mental formation is no other than emptiness. But this is hard for most people to fathom. They think they failed and they are the failed. They are the failure. They think that themselves is truly existing failure, or someone else's mistake is they think it's truly existing mistaken person. They don't see the emptiness of the failure. They don't see the emptiness of the achievement. They don't see that even achievement is conglomeration of many years, many lifetimes sometimes, and many people's effort looks like an achievement, but quite a lot of people deludedly think it's them, self, and truly self that is an accomplishment. And then they've become so bloated by ego and pride, and they become so attached when the form of the accomplishments is emptiness. It's empty of truly existing, unitary, independent there at all. That very emptiness of accomplishments manifests as accomplishment when people are grasping to a piece of paper hang on the wall, thinking that's me, even though it was many years ago. There's no relevance to it now, but people still are stuck in the past sense of accomplishments, or they have so much aversion to someone's action of some years ago. Even that action of theirs is so much mental formation of oneself and one's perception, but one thing, the action is independently of the person, and therefore one lump the person as they are the action, when actually their actions is completely empty, and the emptiness itself is the action. Because they are empty of that, therefore the actions can to be manifested in many different ways. The emptiness is no other than the action. The action is not other than emptiness. But yet this deluded world of samsara aren't able to see the emptiness of action, be that success or failure or whatever, and they curse each other and they condemn each other, or many even condemn themselves. I am my failure and that's me, and therefore suffer. Let them be set free if they meditate that all mental formations are emptiness. Emptiness self is mental formation. Emptiness is no other than mental formation. Mental formation is no other than emptiness. In the same way, consciousness is emptiness, emptiness is consciousness, emptiness is no other than consciousness, consciousness is no other than emptiness. This is concerning one's sixth sense consciousness. Visual consciousness, when we see something in an object, the visual consciousness is emptiness. The object lacks the thing that the visual consciousness sees. Like the moth sees the flame, so beautiful. The moth's visual consciousness is deluded in thinking the flame is beautiful without knowing it is fire. Likewise, all moth-like sentient beings are often attached to visual consciousness, saying, I saw it, and they think that's real, that's validatable, when actually it is not. It's seeing the snake in the striped rope. What you saw first is no longer there, whether it's a person or a thing, because they're impermanent, they are transitory, they do not truly exist. Like a food that has been cooked 3 hours ago, put on the plate, now it looks like stale. Person who's deluded with the visual conscious think the object is permanently fresh. It's only fresh for next 2 minutes, but after that the food will go stale. Most people's visual perception misleads themselves in apprehending impermanent things as permanent, unsatisfactory things as satisfactory, unreal as a real, when actually all visual perceptions are empty. Likewise, all auditory consciousness, all what one hears, either praise or criticism, both are emptiness. Sometimes the person praises you, other times they bite you. There is nothing reliable that comes. They all just echo, empty sound. So therefore form is all sound, all auditory consciousness is emptiness. Emptiness is auditory consciousness. Empty is no other than auditory consciousness. Auditory consciousness is no other than emptiness. Likewise, olfactory consciousness, that is smelling a nice aroma or a foul odor. Even this nice smell is emptiness, because it's impermanent. It is dependent. How near you are to it. It's not because there's a smell in the smell. It's how near you are to smell it, any smell, let alone aroma. But how long will this aroma last? Not long. Even your nose is still there, but it no longer can see the permanent smell. So therefore, all olfactory consciousness that smells aroma is emptiness. So is the emptiness of the olfactory consciousness. Emptiness no other than olfactory consciousness. Olfactory consciousness no other than emptiness. Likewise, gustatory consciousness, tasting food, tasting drinks, is actually empty of real, permanent, satisfactory thing. It is not empty of the taste, but empty of long-lasting satisfactoriness. It's empty of satisfactoriness. The more you eat, the more you want to eat. As soon as you eat, it becomes gorge. It doesn't look any good. The mango you swallow is no longer mango. So how long is this delicious, delicious? There's no gustatory consciousness that's permanently delicious. Therefore, it's gustatory consciousness emptiness. Emptiness is gustatory consciousness, and emptiness is not other than gustatory consciousness, and gustatory consciousness is not other than emptiness. Yet sentient beings crave and grasp to certain tastes as truly existing phenomena, and they become addicted to it, and this is what they don't get. Due to ignorance and attachment and then aversion, they languish. Towards whom the Bodhisattva radiate compassion. Likewise, tactile consciousness, when one touches the hand on a smooth surface or a sharp thorn or a very hot surface or a very cold glass of drink, all the tactile consciousness is not really truly there. If it wasn't the object, the tactile consciousness self doesn't feel it. Only by contacting with the form, then there seems to be cold surface. But cold surface is only if you touch, not because cold surface is cold surface to the cold surface. To the cold surface, it doesn't even have a name. It's the one who touches it, calls it cold surface. So therefore, form of cold surface is empty of truly existing cold surface. Emptiness is the cold surface. Emptiness is not other than the cold surface, or the pleasant, smooth surface is not other than emptiness. But yet ordinary sentient beings are so attached to pleasant, smooth surfaces, so aversive to rough surfaces, and so on. Likewise, the sixth, mental consciousness. Mental consciousness is emptiness. If it's real, where is the mental consciousness to be located? From the top to toes, from the skin to the marrow, go and find the mental consciousness. If it has a form, a color, shape, size, age, go and find it. Weigh it, measure it, take a photograph of it, see the mind. Mind is not to be found in the mind. Nature of mind is simply luminosity. So is the consciousness. It's luminously empty of any form, any color, any shape, any age, any date. Mind is ageless. Mind is timeless. Mind is empty of form. But yet people grasp to it as self, as a permanent, as truly existing Atma or something, when actually it's Anatma. It's devoid of any entity. It's entitylessness, signlessness, wishlessness. Shariputra, in the same way, all phenomena are merely empty, they are without characteristics, they are not created, they do not cease, they have no impurity, they are not devoid of impurity, they do not decrease and increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition of factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no phenomena. There is no I element, and so forth, up to no mind element, and up to no elemental mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth. There is no aging and death, no exhaustion of aging and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, there is no origin, there is no cessation, no path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because bodhisattvas have no attainment, they depend on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Because their mind is without obstruction, they are without fear. Having completely passed beyond all error, they go to the completion of nirvana. All Buddhas who abide in the three times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifestly perfect Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, mantra of perfection wisdom is mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that equal to the unequaled, mantra that thoroughly pacifies all sufferings. Because it is not false, it should be known as the truth. The mantra of perfection wisdom is proclaimed. Tadyatha Om Gate. The first Gate is the path of accumulation, which is the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge. Second Gate is the path of preparation, that is the unsurpassed mantra. And Paragate is the path of perceiving, that is mantra that equal to the unequaled. And Parasangate is the path of meditation, that is a mantra that thoroughly pacifies all sufferings. Bodhi is path of normal learning, therefore it is not false. It is Bodhi, it is perfect. Therefore, Shariputra, Bodhisattva, Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection wisdom in that way. Then the Blessed One arose from the Samadhi and said to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, the superior Avalokiteshvara, well done, well done, well done, one of good lineage. It is just so. One of good lineage, it is like that. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught it. Even the Tathagatas will rejoice in this. The Blessed One having so spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, superior Avalokiteshvara, and all that are gathered there, and those of the worlds, gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas, were filled with admiration and praised the words of Blessed One. So now we recite the mantra for a little while. During that, you try to incorporate all the above understanding. That mantra constitute all the five paths of accumulation to all the way to path of normal learning. So what it means is the mantra of great knowledge. The mantra of great knowledge is the emptiness of all things. Because this is an unsurpassed mantra. I mean, it doesn't really need saying. You just have to have that kind of protection of your mind from this wrong conception that they are real and permanent and satisfactory. That is the mantra. And there is no match to this mantra. This is not a mantra that requires reciting, actually. But because we haven't got it up to our sleeves yet, we can recite the mantra. So, once you know it, you don't need the reciting. You just have to abide in that state. Buddha was sitting in the meditation, remember, profound illumination, because he wasn't seen to be saying any of those, because he's always in that meditative state. And because of that, the mantra that thoroughly pacify all suffering, there's no suffering, remember, so you don't have to pacify suffering that you don't create. The suffering doesn't exist, remember? It's because when you don't have suffering, it doesn't have to pacify, because all sufferings are pacified by knowing their lack of inherent existence. Therefore, that is the truth. Tadyada angade angade parangade parasangade bodhiswa 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 tadyada angade gade parangade parasangade bodhiswa tadyada angade gade parangade parasangade bodhisattva 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 tadyada angade gade parangade parasangade Now, in order to repel any lingering obstacles and still grasping to things as real and permanent and so on, we do this prayer in the swearing in the name of the perfection, wisdom, and the triple gem. We imagine them, crushing them into, pulverize them into emptiness. Namo, I pay homage to the Master, I pay homage to Buddha, I pay homage to Dharma, I pay homage to Sangha, I pay homage to the Blessed Mother of Perfect Wisdom. By the power of paying homage to you all, may our words of truth triumph. Just as long ago Shakra, the king of gods, through the power of meditating on the profound meaning and reciting the words of the Blessed Mother of Perfect Wisdom, successfully repel all demonic obstacles and evil beings and the like, so in the very same way may we also through the power of meditating on the profound perfect meaning of the reciting the words of Blessed Mother of Perfect Wisdom be able to repel all obstacles and disharmonious factors. May they be annihilated, may they be pacified. Namo, I pay homage to the Master, I pay homage to the Buddha, I pay homage to the Dharma, I pay homage to the Sangha, I pay homage to the Blessed Mother of Perfect Wisdom. By the power of paying homage to you, may our words of truth triumph. Just as long ago Shakra, the king of the gods, through the power of meditating on the profound meaning and reciting the words of Blessed Mother of Perfect Wisdom, successfully repel all demonic obstacles and evil beings and the like, so the very same way may we also through the power of meditating on the profound meaning of and reciting the words of the profound Blessed Mother of Perfect Wisdom be able to repel obstacles and disharmonious factors. May they be annihilated, may they be pacified. Namo, I pay homage to the Master, I pay homage to Buddha, I pay homage to Dharma, I pay homage to Sangha, I pay homage to Blessed Mother of Perfect Wisdom. By the power of paying homage to you all, may our words of truth triumph. Just as long ago Shakra, the king of gods, through the power of meditating on the profound meaning and the reciting words of Blessed Mother of Perfect Wisdom, successfully repel all demonic obstacles and evil being and the like, So in the very same way, may we also through the power meditate on profound meaning and reciting the words of Blessed Mother, perfection, wisdom, be able to repel obstacles to someone. May they be highlighted, may they be pacified. May all outer, inner obstacles to our attaining complete enlightenment be totally pacified. So in this way, one who has heard the perfection wisdom teaching should learn to use the Heart Sutra meditation. Today we deliberately focus on the five aggregates, and then the next previous few remaining session we will focus on the others in the same as we did. I'm sure you can learn to do that also in your daily meditation. If you have some particular concerns and issues, your mind isn't settling well, or worried, or fear, or anxiety, or even sickness, or whatever it is, it's good to see them as a temporary and illusory and not truly existing, including the one person who's worrying about them. So it's very important to do that meditation. So with this, we are now going to do the dedication merits. Unless one of you, unless you have any comments or questions, if you have, please raise your hands. We have a few minutes. Yes, Anne?
We talk a lot about emptiness in this teaching. Could you comment on the Sanskrit origin of the Western concept of emptiness, like what root words it derives from, please?
Oh yeah, it derives from zero, called shunya. Its word for emptiness in Sanskrit is shunya. Shunya means zero. Zero. Shunyata means zeroness. Zeroness. We call emptiness, but zeroness. Shunya means void. Shunya. Can you say shunya? Shunya. 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 You know, shunya, yeah. Shunya, yeah. Everything is shunya. Shunya means vast. Shunya doesn't mean emptiness, means complete, you know. Because when you put a zero, everything becomes complete, you know. Otherwise it's incomplete, you know.
And it's kind of midway between the plus and the minus, isn't it?
Yeah. Because if there was no shunya, if your womb was not vacant, the baby couldn't grow. You know, it's out of the shunyata, then the baby is conceived. You know. It's out of the emptiness the babies are born. That's why the babies are so miraculous. And all problems are out of emptiness too, you know. And all solutions also emptiness. So don't get attached to the solutions either. There's no attainment, remember. Anyway, so with this we're now going to conclude the dedication merits. May you always stay in this kind of zero state of mind. Zero is very vast, you know. Zero is not limited and bounded. It's infinite. You can fit everything and nothing in it. And there is no lack of anything. Mehale Beradabe Bramdi Oshana Bata de Sinede Herenda Mahayana teaching, whatever merit I have accrued, may all be because the love is true. The Mahayana teaching, courage, manjushinu, as ama the Bhadra de la following all the example. I shall take all the med excellent Bodhichitta Tebe Vetena Yedanso where has been meeting freely without generation. That's all, everyone. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe.